Hello guys, and welcome to this week's video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a $50 MacBook that I bought off of eBay. Honestly, I should have spent that money on a heater as it is really cold in here. But either way, let's grab a nice warm drink and open the package up. With our trusty knife, let's rip into the mailing bag. Inside we've got a cardboard box. In that we've got the laptop and the charger wrapped in bubble wrap, as well as lots of paper to stop everything moving around too much during shipping. I'd say the packaging was very good, I definitely appreciate that, but now it's time to plug it in and see if it works as described. I really do miss the old MagSafe connectors on these MacBooks. This laptop booted into macOS 10.6.3. We'll be sure to update that as far as we can later in the video. It also has 4GB of DDR2 RAM, which is 3 more gigabytes than it originally came with from Apple, and it's also easily upgradable. It also has its standard 120GB 5400 RPM hard disk. Swapping it out for a SATA-based SSD is definitely a good option. Sadly, the battery in this laptop is dead, but you can get a third-party replacement for around $40 on eBay. Since it appears to work fine, I think it's time we give it a clean and see how good we can get it looking. For a 2008 MacBook, it's in very nice condition. The usual broken plastic at the bottom of the palm rest is actually completely intact. To try and remove light scratching on the top of the lid, I used some cut and polish on the plastic. I applied some pressure and rubbed it in using a circular motion. I then cleaned off the excess polish with some eucalyptus oil. Next on our cleaning list is the keyboard. While not very dirty, all the keys appear to have yellowed somewhat. I've never seen that happen on a modern Apple laptop. I used an antibacterial wipe to get the grime off the display. I followed that up with some lens cleaning solution and a microfiber cloth. Overall, the base of the laptop wasn't too bad. I cleaned off the feet and thought I'd show you how to remove the RAM and the hard disk. The battery is easily removed by turning this latch. It can then be lifted up and out. The RAM and hard disk are behind this L-shaped metal bracket held in place by 3 small Phillips head screws. The metal bracket comes out easily, revealing the 2 RAM slots. Pulling this lever will eject the RAM cards. The 2.5-inch hard disk is removed by flipping out this tab and gently pulling the drive out. This can easily be replaced with a 2.5-inch SSD for better read and write performance. Now, I think it's time we upgrade the operating system to macOS 10.7 Lion, which is the latest macOS distribution that's natively supported on this laptop. I booted into the macOS install USB, reformatted the hard disk, and let it install. All of this took about 40 minutes. I then entered all of the important setup details and we were off. macOS X Lion was installed. It's also time to install some programs and games to test out the laptop. While this laptop is old, the 2.1 GHz Core 2 Duo CPU allows for HD YouTube playback fairly easily. Using Photoshop was also possible. However, I couldn't get it to run the Steam launcher or even Minecraft. The keyboard on this laptop is very comfortable and I'd highly recommend it for typing up documents. The trackpad has multi-finger gesture support, which still feels really great to use today. Other strong points of this laptop are the decent selection of ports, optical drive, and overall compact design. Although compared alongside the first generation MacBook Air, this does really seem a little bit chunky. However, the base model MacBook Air cost $1,000 more, had a smaller, slower hard disk, and came with a far weaker processor. I would have definitely opted for this MacBook if I had the choice 11 years ago. For such an old Apple laptop, it still looks pretty modern and performs basic tasks really well. Adding in an SSD would definitely make it a lot faster. You can actually get a 120GB SSD for only $28 at the moment. If you can find one of these MacBooks in good condition relatively cheap, I'd give it a partial recommendation. Without any upgrades or refurbishment, you'd likely have to replace the battery, and the stock 1GB of RAM just isn't enough for modern tasks. I'm very glad to have one of these in my collection. It's great to see that Apple's 11-year-old budget laptop still functions well today. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, feel free to leave a like, and if you want to see more, definitely consider subscribing. I'll see you in next week's video.